An hour later, the Bentley pulled up in front of Lisa's grandmother's gate. The drive had been silent, tense, the kind of silence that made you hear your own heartbeat. Lisa spent most of the trip thinking about her lie. She had told her boss her mother had just died, but in truth, her mother had been gone for years, and the circumstances were complicated. Still, she was determined to keep up the act. Mr. Michael, for his part, kept his eyes on the road. The only thing he was known to openly flaunt was his bachelorhood, and the only conversations they had were strictly work-related. When the car stopped, she quickly mumbled a thanks and stepped out before he could say much. She spotted her grandmother waiting by the door. That sight alone sent a wave of nerves through her. If her grandmother slipped up, the truth would come out. The yard was dusty, the gate squeaky, and there stood Mr. Michael, in his clean Adidas tracksuit and shoes that clearly weren't meant for gravel roads, calmly walking in behind her. Her grandmother, who usually gave long lectures about staying away from men, suddenly transformed in his presence. Her stern face softened, her voice lowered, and her smile appeared as if rehearsed. The way she welcomed him made it seem like she had been expecting him all along. When he mentioned her loss, she nodded solemnly, playing along without hesitation. It was clear she wasn't going to expose her granddaughter's lie. If anything, she was going to milk it. She didn't hesitate to give him her bank details when he offered to help with funeral costs. Within minutes, her phone pinged with an A deposit. She clutched the device to her chest, whispering a prayer of thanks, not to God, but to her unexpected benefactor. Lisa stood there, torn between shame and relief. The whole situation felt surreal. She had lied to get out of work for a few days, and now her grandmother was practically ready to frame a fake obituary just to keep the money flowing. Before leaving, Mr. Michael told Lisa to take the rest of the week off. His tone wasn't angry, but there was something unreadable in his expression, like he was filing the whole incident away in his mind for later. The Bentley glided away, leaving behind a cloud of dust and a grandmother who was already planning how to spend the money. Lisa just stood there, hands on her hips, staring at the road long after the car disappeared. She didn't know whether to be grateful, nervous, or both. The evening sat heavy over the lounge, the kind of stillness that makes the hum of the TV sound louder than usual. Lisa sat curled into the corner of the couch, legs tucked under a blanket she had pulled over herself more for comfort than warmth. The flickering blue light from the television painted her face in cold tones, though she barely registered what was on the screen. Her mind wandered, restless and sharp, bouncing between the day's conversations and the silence that now seemed to stretch endlessly around her. Her phone vibrated against the armrest. She glanced at the screen. Mary. She almost ignored it. Mary's messages rarely brought good news, but the memory of their earlier tense exchange made her thumb swipe across the screen. The message was simple, almost taunting. I have permission from the boss. Lisa frowned. Before she could type a reply, another notification came in, a WhatsApp image. She tapped it open and zoomed in. Zara and Peter side by side in front of Mr. Michael, holding hands like they belonged to each other. Her phone buzzed again. Isn't this your boyfriend? They just announced to Mr. Michael that they are married. The words dug into her chest, cold and deep. She stared at the screen, her thumb hovering over the keyboard, then set the phone down and stood. She wasn't going to sit here like someone stranded in her own life. By the time she reached the gate, the chill of the night had settled into her bones. The metal was cold under her fingertips as she pressed the intercom button. Lisa, Mary's voice finally came through, thin and distant. I'm at the gate. Open for me. I was told not to. Her brows drew together. By who? Your best friend, Zara. The lie, or maybe the truth, didn't matter. And you obeyed. Why are you like this, Mary? This thing of wanting to please people will end in tears. I'm doing my job, Lisa. Lisa let out a short, humorless laugh. Your job is to clean and wash dishes. Unless... Her voice sharpened. Unless this is the promotion you've been desperate for. Congratulations, Mary. You're a gateman now. Mary's faint snort came through. Say whatever you want. This is for your own safety. For a moment, Lisa stood in the dark, the hum of passing traffic in the distance filling the pause. My safety? Am I in danger? You're at risk of losing your job. You need to behave. The word behave struck her like an insult. I'm not a dog, Mary. Don't tell me to behave. Open the gate. Silence. Then, as if Mary couldn't help herself, "Mr. Michael is not your friend." The words were absurd, but they hit with an odd sting. Lisa exhaled through her nose, steady but burning inside. She wanted answers, and Peter wasn't taking her calls. Neither was Zara. Her pockets were empty. There was no taxi fare home. The gate loomed taller than she remembered, its shadow swallowing her whole. The metal grid looked like a dare. She gripped it, her breath coming faster as she pulled herself up. She hated heights, hated the way her pulse pounded in her ears, but she kept going. Stars swam in her vision, her muscles shaking. The distant thought of falling curling in her stomach. When her feet finally hit the ground on the other side, she muttered a shaky half-sarcastic prayer of thanks. The sliding door to the lounge was open. Warm light spilled out into the yard. Inside, Peter and Zara were curled together on the couch, sipping tea, like they were the rightful king and queen of this little palace. Mary hovered nearby, a plate of biscuits in hand, those expensive baker's ones Peter's family only touched on Christmas. Peter choked when he saw her, coughing into his fist. Zara's frown cut across the room like a blade. "How did you get in?" she asked. Lisa's reply was dry, stripped of theatrics. "Did you think I'd go home and cry myself to sleep?" Peter stood awkwardly, his movements stiff. Zara slid to his side, protective and claiming. "So this is why you cheated? Because of Baker's biscuits?" Lisa's voice was quiet, almost conversational, but the edge beneath it was sharp. Peter tried to speak, something about explaining, but Zara's voice rose above his, calling for Mary to phone the police. Mary froze at the sight of the knife in Lisa's hand before bolting back to the kitchen. Her voice echoed moments later, confirming she was indeed calling. Lisa stepped forward, her words deliberate. "I just want to know what's going on. You two are married." "Yes," Zara answered as though it were nothing. "When did this start?" 11th grade, she said without flinching. Lisa's knees felt suddenly hollow, but she stood straighter. "You're supposed to be my friend." "I am your friend," Zara argued. Peter added his own apology, weak, perfunctory, before shifting the blame onto her. Clingy, blind, hard to talk to. Lisa stared at him, absorbing each word without allowing herself to break in front of them. "Don't talk to me like that. Don't make me feel stupid. You told me you loved me." Zara's eyes flashed. In a sudden burst of movement, she slapped Lisa hard across the face. "It's over. Don't you get it? Stop interrogating my husband." Lisa's fist moved before she'd even thought about it, catching Zara square and sending her tumbling back onto the couch. Mary's voice came sharp from the kitchen. "The police are on the way. You better leave now." Lisa turned toward the gate, her body still tense. She climbed halfway up before the old fear of heights gripped her again. Headlights flared in the distance. The hum of an engine grew louder, the car moving fast. She froze. The vehicle stopped at the gate. In the dark, she couldn't see the driver's face. The door opened. "Lisa!" It was Mr. Michael. His tone was unreadable, but he had gotten her name right this time. Perched there on the stop-nonsense gate, the cold metal biting into her hands, Lisa realized she'd have to explain exactly why she was stuck like a trespasser outside his home at night. And that, somehow, felt harder than the climb itself. Lisa had no business screaming at the top of her lungs, but fear had gripped her the moment the gate began to slide open. It was the only way Mr. Michael could get inside and help her down. But still, the height made her cling stubbornly to the cold metal. When she caught the faint curl of his lips, she suspected he was silently laughing at her, his amusement slipping past whatever self-control he had. She felt his hand settle firmly on her waist. "I got you," he said in that calm, deep tone. It was enough reassurance for Lisa to loosen her grip on the gate, but instead of stepping away like a sensible person, she wrapped her arms around his neck, clutching him as though her life depended on it. Her feet touched the ground at last. His hands left her waist, but she still clung to him, face buried against the warm skin of his neck. "Lisa," he said, her name, spoken close to her ear, his warm breath brushing over her skin. "I'm afraid of heights," she murmured in explanation, voice muffled. He cleared his throat. "Maybe that's why God made you short." Her eyes snapped open. She was standing on solid ground, both feet planted firmly, but still had her arms around her boss. She jumped back as if she'd touched a hot stove. "I'm not short. You just have long legs." In the wash of the car's headlights, she caught the glimmer of that mischievous smirk tugging at his mouth. "You talk too much," he said, "and you haven't even given me a chance to ask if you're okay. Are you?" Lisa shook her head, words failing her. Was he worried about her, or was she only imagining it? "Did you hear what I said?" She nodded this time. "You're worried about me, sir." He didn't answer directly. His attention was already on the phone in his hand. "I don't want my maid dying outside my gate. Get in the house." He left to park the car, but Lisa remained where she was. She wasn't stepping foot inside without him. When he returned, he looked almost puzzled. "Aren't you supposed to be mourning your mother, preparing for the funeral?" The question caught her off guard. She hadn't thought he'd remember. This man rarely remembered anyone's name, let alone their personal matters. His steady eye contact made her uneasy, as though he could pull the truth straight from her. "My mother," she began, "died years ago," he finished for her. Lisa's stomach dropped. She needed to call her grandmother before the old woman spent money unnecessarily. "No, sir. It's only been 22 years. We're still grieving. The wound is still fresh." There was no wound, not for Lisa. She had never even known the woman. "You grew up without a mother?" he asked, frowning slightly. "My grandmother took that role. That's why I call her Mama." She spoke simply. She had never truly felt the absence of a mother. "I see," he murmured. Then, without warning, "When am I getting my money back?" Her head jerked. "Sir?" Something about her bewilderment made him chuckle softly. "I knew about your mother the day you came to work for me. You were all Zara could talk about. There's nothing I don't know about you." "You know everything except my name," she muttered under her breath. Without responding, Mr. Michael started for the house. She hesitated before calling after him. "Mr. Michael, wait! There's something you have to know about Zara and the man she married." It was better he heard her side of the story before Zara twisted things in her favor. She told him everything, every betrayal, every whispered conversation she'd overheard. He didn't say a word. Instead, he strode into the house, Lisa following closely. She almost wished she hadn't when they entered the room and found Zara and Peter kissing. The sight was like a slap to her chest. She had been with Peter for 8 years. "Zara!" Mr. Michael's voice cracked like a whip. His entire demeanor shifted into something sharp and commanding. The pair sprang apart, wiping their mouths in guilty haste. "Why is this man still here?" he demanded. Zara glanced at Lisa. "Excuse us." "I'm not going anywhere," Lisa replied, planting herself beside Mr. Michael like a soldier ready for battle. "I didn't raise you like this," he said to his daughter, disappointment dripping from his words. He sat heavily in a one-seater, motioning for Lisa to take a seat as well. She obeyed, hating the sight of Zara and Peter sitting close, fingers intertwined. "Lisa told me everything," Mr. Michael began. Zara's eyes narrowed dangerously. "What did she tell you, Dad?" "Like he said, everything," Lisa answered for him, not caring if she lost her job. "How you and this pig have been going behind my back for 5 years. Dad, I can explain. He's not a bad person. He's just—" "Broke and desperate," Lisa cut in. "Will you let me speak?" Zara snapped. "Everyone, shut up." Mr. Michael's voice silenced the room. "I want to hear what this boy has to say." Awkward silence followed. He was glaring at Peter, who was trying his best not to look his way. "Who the hell are you? And why have you turned these girls against each other?" Mr. Michael said. Peter shifted uncomfortably under his gaze. "No one special, sir. Just an ordinary man who loves your daughter. The only man she loves." "You know nothing about love, boy. Can it put food on the table?" Peter shook his head. "I have nothing to my name. No money or property. The only thing I have is your daughter, and I've come to ask for her." "What if I don't give her to you?" "She's already mine, sir. We just need your blessing." "When I first saw you," Mr. Michael said slowly, leaning forward, "I thought you were arrogant. Now I see you're also an illiterate who sees women as objects." "Dad," Zara began. "Zara, is this your choice?" Lisa bit back the sting of his words. Peter had once been her choice, too. "A man who can't feed you 2 meals a day." Mr. Michael's voice rose. "Who will depend on your father to feed both of you?" "Shouldn't love be enough?" Peter asked. The look of disbelief on Mr. Michael's face was almost comical. "Is this what you wanted?" Zara asked Lisa, fury burning in her eyes. "Yes," Lisa said simply. "You're fired." Lisa had seen it coming. She stood, ready to leave, when Mr. Michael's voice cut through the air. "Sit down, Lisa." "Dad, Lisa works for me. Only I can fire her. Zara's voice sharpened. But I'm your daughter. You've chosen to be someone's wife, he said coldly. You belong to him now. This is my house. Lisa is my employee. Lisa glanced at him, wondering why, after all he had heard, he hadn't dismissed her. There was something about Mr. Michael's presence, broad-shouldered, calm, and imposing, that stirred an odd sense of safety in her. He caught her staring, his brow furrowing. Do you still want your job? Yes, sir. I love working for you. Then go to the kitchen and make me some tea. She hesitated, heart still aching, but part of her wanted to stay, just to see the moment he finally threw Peter out. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this tale, remember to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss the next journey into our African stories. Until then, stay curious, stay kind.